Jeremiah 29:11 and 12. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. For those of you that don't know me, there's a strong possibility it's because I sit in the balcony to Pastor Bob's center right. My name is Rodney Weaver, and it's a pleasure to meet you from the screen. Now, for those of you that do know me, you can attest and agree that I don't, with my personality that is, I don't do sit down, shut up, pay attention, maybe you'll do better next time very well at all. My personality is I want to do it once, and I want to do it now. Yes, I am a type A personality. Right, honey? There have been some recent events and occurrences in our lives that have led me to being on this side of the camera to share with you how our Heavenly Father can work in a life even as simple as mine. After recently receiving the message from John chapter 6, I understood that the message was aimed at my life, even to the point to where during the message my bride nudged me and said, "Are you getting all of this?" I have faith, and I am a convicted believer. However, I struggle with my type A personality most of the time. I woke up Monday morning to some very discouraging news that my employment was going to be terminated. I was scheduled to fly out to go to Chicago to finish a project that I was working on, and I began to question with my bride, talking with her about whether I should go or if I should stay. She was obviously upset, and so was I, and my thinking was, do I need to leave my bride upset in this state of mind? And also, did I need to be working on heavy equipment with tools in my hand and sharp knives and objects around me? I didn't know if that was necessarily the best thing for me to do either. So I basically just came to the conclusion that I needed to go. There were people that were relying on me that were not involved in this issue that I needed to not disappoint. And it was time for me to just be a good man in a storm and just forge my path and go forward. And my bride agreed with me, and I pursued and just kept going. And my morning started out typical, went to the airport, went to the TSA screening, very typical. I always get double screened because of the tools that I carry. And I even got a smile out of it because the guy in front of me actually had a similar situation where he was carrying something and he had to get double screened. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, it's just a typical morning, and that's what happens, and it does happen to other people as well. So I kept going on, got on the airplane, went to Charlotte, made it to Charlotte, and I became discouraged again. And I called my bride, and to hear her on the other end of the line saying, "I will drive to Charlotte and get you," just made me emotional. And I began to think again, do I need to do this? Do I need to keep going? And we discussed it, and we said yes, that the right thing for me to do was to forge forward and to continue being a good man in a storm regardless of what was going on in our lives, because there was people that were depending on me to do something regardless of whatever this personal situation in my employment was. So I kept going, and I made it on the airplane, got on the airplane, got settled in, we took off, and when the plane hit 10,000 feet, the buzzer rang, and that's for clearance for you to be able to use approved electronic devices. So I said to myself, okay, it's time for me to break out the laptop, it's time for me to start continuing my control of this situation, and it was time for me to start writing a memo to the owner of the company to take control and capture this event and turn it around and reverse it and make it what I wanted. And I pulled my laptop out of the bag, flipped up the top, and suddenly realized it's not my laptop. And at that point, many things crossed my mind. I I could not understand what had happened. I looked at the model number. I went to say, this is it my wife's? Then I realized, let me look at the model number. I looked at the model number and found that it was a model number I had not been familiar with, although the case of the plastic case that the Dell computer was in was identical to mine. The size was almost identical. It wasn't mine. It wasn't my wife's. Whose was it? Then I realized that, wow, I'm on an airplane. I realized that my employment is being terminated. I also realized that I don't have a company laptop that I'm going to have to explain to them that I don't have anymore, nor can I actually take control of the situation and start writing memos, getting files out of my Outlook, getting files off my hard drive to be able to turn this ship around, to the point to where I suddenly, it hit me again. The message that I had heard the morning before about trusting in Jesus and just letting go and believing that He's in control. And I was reminded at that moment of everything in life that I do not control.